call is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody. Hey, man, I want to welcome everybody to the call tonight. We just hit the recorded button. So those of you guys in TikTok land, you're going to get a little review of what we just went over. But tonight, I've got a special guest on the call that's coming in. Should be in here shortly. And we're super excited. Are you good, Peter? You good? Okay. I was just making sure. We got like the whole cheek shot over there. I wasn't making sure what he was doing. But anyway. All right. Anyway, so tonight, like I said, I've got a special guest that's going to be on the call tonight, and we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of this whole state national movement. You know, back in 2016, we didn't have any of this kind of stuff. There was no, well, there were no state nationals. There were just people learning how to get out, and then you had a lot of people doing other things. And I think this guy really summed it up. I think he summed it up really well. You guys don't know who I'm talking about? Hold on a second. Let me pull a little picture up here. Maybe you guys ring a bell. Anybody seen this guy? You guys out in TikTok land, you seen this guy? Anybody here seen this guy? Well, tonight, I'm not burning this guy at all. As a matter of fact, he's my special guest tonight. And he's going to be talking to us about this division and this hierarchy of laws and where we all sit in all of this stuff. Yeah. You don't have to hear it from me. You can hear it from somebody else. And he's kid tested and mother approved. And it's just been a joy. I had a really great conversation. Well, I've had other conversation with him too, but our last conversation, and actually after I saw this video, I was like, that's it. This guy really just turned a corner. He's really got it. And we had some good conversation. He was telling me that even the local PD over there in his area is now kind of on notice, and they're just kind of tiptoeing around him now. They'll talk to his kids, but as soon as he comes out of the house, they're in the cop cars. They're gone. It's a civil thing. We're out of here. That's what they do. So, very common. So I'm just waiting for him to come on. He should be coming on shortly. But I want to thank everybody that attended the UCC and non-UCC class. I want to also apologize for the folks that took that class too. I accidentally scheduled it on Shabbat, and oops. And it's kind of, I know people ask me, what is all this Shabbat, non-Shabbat, Shabbat? What is it? Well, it's a holy day, and it's a holy day that was given to the Israelites. And who are the Israelites? Well, the Israelites are the people that keep the law. So there are 12 tribes that were scattered. Only 2 of them were Jewish. The other 2 are Hebrew. I know the Christians like to say, and the Jews over there. They always like to park them over there in the corner somewhere. And that's not necessarily where we are. We're a different part. We're a different part of that. So we still believe Torah. We believe all those things. Just a lot of the historical sacraments and things like Hanukkah and things like that. Hanukkah was something that was made up, like Christmas is made up. It's not really Yeshua's birthday or any stuff like that. So we just don't acknowledge that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the only difference between us and them. Outside of that, we're all pretty much the same. So I'm really glad everybody's here. I didn't want to go too far deep there. Just wait for everybody else to get here. All right. Did you shave, brother? Are you on? I haven't seen Brian. There you are. Welcome to the call, brother. I just wanted to welcome you to the call. Glad you're here.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Mark, glad you're here as well. Tad Cater, glad you're here. But anyway, yes, I goofed and I scheduled that class like right on Shabbat, and that's just a strict day. We just don't work at all. And because that day was not really sharing personal experiences, that day was really, we did some work in that class. I hope that was adequate. And if it's not, like I said, you guys are all welcome to take the next class, which is going to be, I just looked it up today. It's going to be February the 3rd and 4th. So February 3rd and 4th will be our next UCC and trust class. So if you guys want to take that and you took this class, please come and take the second class again. It's totally on me. You're welcome to do it. All right. I still don't see our guest yet, but it's okay. what he basically really got clued in, and I guess I'm gonna start opening some of this stuff up, and then I'm gonna let him hopefully he'll jump in on here in just a minute. Um, but one of the things that he really touches on is that we are all American nationals. And when you say that you are a citizen, that means you're an employee. Yeah. So when these guys are all talking about, "They're my citizenship. Have you changed your citizenship? Have you changed your personal what?" You don't need to change any of that. Here's what you need to learn how to do, guys. We need to learn how to manage this this thing that's before us, okay? Which is your legal fiction. This is what people have the hard enough time. And I think that one of the things that I heard that really attracted me to all of this was is that, and having and inviting our guest on as soon as he gets here. Looks like we've got people that are popping on and everybody's showing up now. Welcome, Sean. Glad you guys are all here. Um, is that, people really are missing it. They're so busy, but not accomplishing anything. We're filling out paperwork and we're not really doing anything, but we're busy and we're all programmed to think that we're doing something. But what we are finding is that it's just a lot of useless momentum. And these kinds of things are happening, and they weren't happening so much in 2016 when I was waking up. When I was waking up, there was a few groups that were out. Anna Von Wright was up and running and doing quite a bit, and she had her little marshals running around with little fake badges and constitutional paperwork, and they were threatening people and putting UCC liens on public officials and stuff like that. All of those people are all no, not some. Most of them are in jail. Most of them are in prison now. And then that kind of fizzled off in 2018, 19. Things got kind of quiet. And then recently, and now I've been teaching for the last 7 years, but it's been very quiet. It's never been public like this. We've been doing these Monday night calls for the last 7 years, but up until recently, they were never public notice. Nobody ever knew that we were doing this. This was just something that we did, and we'd have, 25, 15 to 25, maybe 45 people at most on these calls. Now these calls are in the 500, 600. We're seeing them all on TikTok and we're seeing them here. We're seeing these numbers now. So we're reaching and we're a lot more public. And I guess the reason that I decided to come out of my shell and start busting these guys literally is because I'm going to tell you that I paid a lot of dues to learn this information. I have 2 children out there that I don't know who they are, and I lost them because of equity, because they weaponized a system against me that was meant to serve me. And talk about just a complete blind shot. I never saw it coming. And just to keep my sanity, just to keep my head right, I had to learn this stuff. I had to learn what they did and how they did it, because if I didn't, here I was 15 years later, and that stuff was still burning a hole in me. I hadn't seen my kids either. So when I hear somebody come out of the woodwork like Kenny Plaster or David or Anna, and they start giving all this advice and they haven't paid their dues, it's offensive. It's personally offensive. And that's why I came out. And this is why, um, people ask me, why do I give these guys such a hard time all the time? Well, it's because that's why. And they're using you guys for guinea pigs to see if their theories work. This has been going on for a long time. And all of those people, not some, all of them are pretty much in jail. And this has to stop because, see, we're in a critical point in our country right now. We've got the public is so split, they don't even know if they're girls and boys anymore. They don't know anything, nothing. And everything is a point of argument. Everything. Like, I mean, even if a rock is round, smooth, sharp, dull, everything is a point of contentment, of argument, of let's take 2 weeks to figure this out. This is not okay. And as a Generation Xer myself, I can tell you I've seen our country, we're losing it. And we're losing it because the people are deceived. The word says that in the end times, the whole world's gonna be deceived. So what does that tell you? We're probably in the end times. And I'm just saying, the only way you're gonna stand and walk through this is by knowing the truth. Those of you that are waking up, don't take any personal credit for it. Please don't, because your creator woke you up. Your creator made a promise to our ancestors when he scattered them. And he said that someday he will call you by name and he's going to wake you up and he's going to bring you back here. No, this is not the time when I pass around an offering plate either. That's not coming ever. Okay. But what I'm telling you is this: Yahweh is waking you up, not that Jesus guy, not Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Buddha, not anybody else. Yahweh himself, your creator, the one that put you together, the one that knows every hair on your head, that guy, he's waking you up. And you have a choice. You can follow these men, and I'm going to tell you they're going to fail you. Or you can follow Yahweh. And how I got through all of this sea of bad information from 2015, when I woke up in late 2015, to right now, was keeping my eyes on him. He sent me all the right people. He does, and he still does, even today. 2 students I did interviews with today, we just had an immediate connection. Why? Because Yahweh is bringing his people together. That's why you're on this call tonight. So don't confuse yourself with anybody else. Don't confuse yourself with those worldly people that have all that nice stuff, because all that nice stuff goes away really fast. Look at Celine Dion. Ooh. It all went away. And all the Corvettes and cars in the world ain't gonna bring that thing back. That is dead. So, this is what happens. We've gotta have a life of substance. We've gotta make this stuff work. So, what I teach is what works. What I teach is equity. If you guys wanna really know the nuts and bolts of what I teach, okay, yes, I'll teach you how to set up your UCC and non-UCC. Yes, I'm gonna teach you how to deal with travel in every aspect because 'cause I've done it. And I'm gonna teach you debt and foreclosure. No, 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 you foreclosing on your lenders. I'm gonna teach that to you too. But all of this stuff is personally sourced. All of this stuff I've personally done. This isn't from anybody else. And if you're talking to a teacher, if he has no personal experience, get out of the room. One of the things that irks me about the David Straight group is that David has never filed a case anywhere. 0 places. What experience does this guy have? What are we doing? You're listening to a storyteller. You're listening to a guy that knows how to get your attention, and he knows how to keep it. Why? Because he's stirring the pot and he's telling you how you're getting ripped off. He's telling you about this and he's telling you by doing that. That's called fear mongering. Okay. That's called psychological warfare. They teach this. The CIA teaches this, to put these people into communities and start spreading these bugs. Those of you guys that have ever worked in factories or anything like that, have you ever noticed how you'll get one guy that just craps on everybody and then he just makes everybody's day bad all day long, and you just got to get rid of that guy because he's just bad? That's nothing new. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing this to us for years to socially control us. And you know what keeps us out of those clutches? Stop watching TV. Open that word and realize what you grew up with is probably not the real thing. You might need to get to know your heavenly Father a little bit better. You know, how many people say the Lord's Prayer and "Our Father, hallowed be thy name." Well, what's his name? They can't answer it. They don't know his name. They just say the words, "Hallowed be thy name," like it's a big question floating in the air. That doesn't get it done. And you know what? Even Satan knows how to do that. That doesn't make you special. It's not in your heart. It's not going to work. We got to live this stuff. It's got to be inside you. And before it can live inside of you, you might need to clean a little house. You might need to get some things out of your life. Do it. Take these classes. Let me show you how to get this straw man under control. Once you get this straw man under control and you figure out what side of the fence he needs to be on, you know what? It'll be hard for you to talk about day to day politics because you're working on this. You're working on what's going to leave this place. Not all that crap that's gonna stay here and all your family members are gonna fight and lie to each other over when you die. Trust me, the nicer stuff you buy, the more they're gonna fight about it. You're not doing them any favors. You're not. Live for Yahweh. Let him do that other part. Anyway. All right. So I just want to see if our guest has made it on. I am eating up time here, buddy. Well, he's not made it on. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we missed each other or what happened. I'm not sure. But anyway, so let's do this. I'm going to open up some discussion time. I know some of you guys took the UCC class this weekend and you have some questions. If you guys have questions about any of that stuff, hey, and you guys out there in TikTok land, feel free to chime in on any questions about UCC, non-UCC. If you want to talk about the UCC connection, 3 point whatever they've come up with now, I'm happy to go over that with you. I'm happy to talk to anybody regarding this stuff. And it's because we have a duty to the public to tell the truth. Okay. Not at $1,300 a head, just to tell the truth. You know, when Yeshua told his disciples to go out into the world and preach the what? The gospel. Gospel means truth. Go tell the truth, man. He didn't ask you to print up a bunch of cards and stick them on people's doors. No, that's not gospel. Gospel is what comes out of your mouth. Gospel is what comes out of your actions. Shoot the UCC, all of it, huh? All right, Sean, you got it, buddy. So why do we file this UCC? It's your night, bro. Hey, it's your night, man. The request lines are open. My guest isn't here, so let's wing it. All right, so let's talk about the UCC. Why do we need to file this UCC? Well, here's the first problem. What Satan does is Satan likes to create exact copies of everything that Yahweh does. And then he likes to mirror it, and then he likes to tweak it and configure it, twist it, and all that other TV stuff that he does. That's what he does. Meanwhile, the living person over here is completely uninvolved, but yet he's continuously victimized by everything that the straw man keeps getting himself into. This starts to sound like a movie plot, doesn't it? It is. This is it. Yes, and the contracts, of course. So, because we have the unlimited ability to contract, listen to that. I'm going to say that one more time. We have the unlimited ability to contract. And there's plenty of examples. Okay. I mean, just the other day, I posted a comment a few weeks ago, and I think I've said this before, but I posted a comment on the Def Leppard page, you know, because those are kind of my gen people anyway. And being in the music business, I kind of knew some people around those areas. Doesn't matter who, but um, thank you. Uh, you know, and I told him, I said, "You're serving a prison sentence, and he's going to have to play for the rest of his life. This is true until he dies." Joe Elliott, the whole group. There's no going to the old folks' home for those guys. They are serving a prison. They are literally serving a contractual prison sentence. Why? They have the unlimited ability to contract. So what was the deal? Well, when you sign the right deal, and Mutt Lang is one of those people that likes to write those deals. He's created lots and lots of stars, and or what we call stars. And again, these are all images of what Yahweh does. You see? So Satan creates this whole facade over here and it looks real, it feels weird, it feels real because you have all these people moving in equity. You have all these people moving as such, you see. And that's where you have that division between church and state, of course. And that's where Yeshua says very clearly, pay unto Caesar what is Caesar, and most importantly, pay unto Yahweh what is due to Yahweh. And I think that we're always paying Caesar, but there's never anything left for Yahweh. We got to put him first. We got to switch that. These classes are going to teach you to do this. When you put what you do with the UCC is you separate yourself contractually from those obligations. Okay. It doesn't mean that you get to act like a bozo and you get to be irresponsible and nobody can do anything to me. Although to some degree that is true. But that's not why I teach this. So you can do that. So I'm not going to tell you to go and do that kind of stuff because at some point in time, it's going to blow up in your face and it's your fault. I'm just going to tell you. So what we start talking about is through this contract When you have a contract or a security agreement, that instructs people how to behave. And not only that, but it gives the proper notice as to how you're going to behave and what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. In other words, we basically rip the arms and legs off your straw man. He can't do nothing else anymore. He's sitting in a bucket. And all he is a transmitting utility for the purpose of day two. We talk about funding the trust. See, trusts are designed to hold property. So when you talk to these guys on the UCC exchange or the UCC, whatever it is, the 3.1, and they got all that fancy artwork, okay? Don't get caught up in all that flashy stuff. Those guys only know half the story because once you've separated yourself, the switches don't just turn on and you get to hop into the trust mobile and drive all the way to the treasury and go get a credit card and a black card and go charge out and life is done and everything is good because that's what these idiots are telling you. And it's absolutely not true. Attainable? Yes. But with limited information they're giving you, not true. Peter's right. He says it's never easy. And if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. If we could go down and unlock our trust funds and say, I am Tim Damron and I'm here to pick up my stuff. Here's my paperwork. If we could all do that, let me tell you something. Ted Cruz and the rest of them would have already ripped us all off by now. Bet. They would have put something out. Somebody needs a shot, a Band-Aid, something. Let's all go down to the treasury together and we're going to fight. We're going to stand for Texas today. And that's what we're going to do. Meanwhile, they're ripping us all off. That's exactly what they would do. So trust me, it's never going to be that easy. Yes, it's a very private club. And yes, you're not invited. So you know what you do? You do your paperwork and you invite yourself. Huh. You're not going to learn that in David Straight's class. So anyway, so here's the deal, man. You're going to set up your UCC. The UCC is designed to govern the people. It tells the limitations of what's going on. It makes legal notice and public notice that you are now a transmitting utility for the purpose of paying off a debt that you will never pay off. Now, in equity, debt is plus, plus, plus. But in our minds, because we think money comes in buckets and we shovel it around, which we don't, because I've never shoveled any money. Anybody shoveled money on this call? Anybody out there in TikTok land? You ever shoveled any money? Then why are you doing it in your head? Why do you think that way? Because some idiot programmed you to think that way. That's why. See, get your life right with Yahweh. Stop looking at that guy in front of you. Stop looking at these men because they're not going to teach you nothing. Get in front of Yahweh. You humble yourself before him. He'll teach you everything. That's what I'm telling you. And that's how I got here. There's no other way to get there, man. These guys know this game better than you do. They know it better than I do. So what we do is we contract our way into the system. So like I said, I don't need an invitation. I invited myself. We rip the legs, we rip the arms off this straw man. He can do nothing no more. He just works for who? Your beneficiaries. And what are you now? Well, you're the storekeeper. You're the one who keeps everything straight, writes the letters, makes sure everybody knows doing what they're supposed to do, and it's your job. Now that sounds like 99% of every father in America, what he should be doing right now today. But we just don't know how to do it, damn it. We just don't know how to do it anymore, do we? That's the problem. Are your eyes opening? You see what I'm saying out there, TikTok? You guys hear what I'm saying? It takes a renewal. It takes a washing away of the old because the old is what keeps you stuck. And what Yahweh has for you will make you white as snow. And if they light the fires on you, you won't burn. I'm right here living proof of that. I can tell you that equity is the strongest force. It's the strongest thing. And you know why? Because it's absolute truth, it's absolute transparency. You've got witnesses, and Yahweh is going to be standing with you. If you've got controversy, fighting, lying, anything like that going on in what you're doing, deceit, He ain't standing there with you. You're on your own. Now it's your job to be dirtier than the other guy. I think you're racing in the wrong direction. I think that's not going to help your beneficiaries at all. Because that's why we do this, right? We're supposed to be doing this for our beneficiaries. See?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, well then, Renee, I'm gonna mute you, buddy. Sorry, I'm breaking up out there, you guys. I apologize. Let me see if I can improve things just a little bit.
Hold on.
Hopefully that worked.
Yes,
right.
take this. I need my hand.
So anyway, so the purpose of the UCC is to define your relationships, because what's going to stay here is going to stay here, and what's going to leave this place is going to leave this place. And if you have a firm understanding as to what that is, then you're not going to be able to be shaken. And this is why, okay, saying that he's hearing some words. Hold on, Renee, you keep coming on mute here. You keep unmuting yourself for some weird reason. All right, let's see if I can get the signal a little bit better. I apologize, everybody. We'll get this better next week. Thank you for letting me know. Those of you guys in TikTok land, if you want to join us here on Uber Conference, you can. It's very simple. It's uberconference.com/freedom school, or you can join us 888-570-7020. You can call us either way, and I hope that will help. I'm sorry if people aren't getting all this. So let's continue to talk. Why did we file this UCC? Because right now, if you don't have your rights laid out, if you don't have your notices laid out, it's nothing about if you don't have those notices out, you have no way to enforce your rights. So what happens is your rights and your everything else falls on the shoulders of our representatives. Okay, according to the government. And, they're supposed to be looking out for our best interest. I've never talked to any of those guys a day of my life. I dated one of their daughters back when I was a kid. It was a congressman. But outside of that, yeah, I never talked to any of them people before. They never come, hey, Mr. Damron, we were thinking we'd like to talk to you about this money we're going to spend of yours. Nope, that day has never happened. It's never going to happen, and I'm not holding my breath. So what does that mean? That means that you need to have a voice. Otherwise, you're like a 6-pack of beer floating at the dock from last weekend, and anybody can come by and pick you up and pluck you up out of the water and do whatever they want to with you. That's not a good place to be. And millions of Americans are victimized every single day because they, quite frankly, don't know how to speak. They've taken that away. They've taken that away from us completely. And if we do say something, if I say something on TikTok, it's hateful speech, it's something. And then it's got to come down because somebody's feelings has to be hurt. We got to maintain everybody's feelings. Let me tell you, Yahweh's not in the business of maintaining anybody's feelings. He don't care. He might even be just a little bit racist in some circles. That's okay too, because he's the creator. He's the boss. So I guess I'm going to get behind that guy and let him make the rules. And I'm going to stay over here on this side of the glass. And I got to tell you guys, if you really want to know what the private side is, it's over here. Clean hands, away from this world. Nobody's telling you what to do. That's what a lot of these teachers, they're not talking about. They talk about going to the private side. Well, what are you sending them to the private side for? What are they going to do over there? You think they're going to go talk to everybody on the private side? They don't talk about this stuff. What we do is we say things that include this stuff, but we don't actually say the stuff. Like, we don't say what we're saying. We say, like, the end result of it or something. And then there's already, oh, okay, well, we know what happened at the beginning. And this is how we talk. This is how they talk in banks. This is how they talk in courts. This is how they speak in the private side. So who's going to teach these guys that? How are they going to know that? And better yet, how are you going to know when you get there? You know what? I think I was sitting on the private side for probably a year and a half, 2 years before I even knew what the heck to even do. That's me. That's truth. And it took some time. So I'm happy to pass that on. I'm happy to pass that on at all. I hope everybody's getting the audio good. Hey Keith, how are you, buddy? My favorite pilot. That guy's awesome. He has like the best pictures ever. But anyway, so the reason that's why we file this UCC is because ultimately, those of you guys that are taking care of your families, okay, men, women that are taking care of your families, you're carrying a load. I mean, you're carrying a heavy load for them. And not only that, but you're also carrying a very heavy responsibility because, one of the things I never did with my wife, or I would never ride, we would take rides on the motorcycle, but I would never take her on a ride with me on the same bike ever. Never. I'd tell her to ride on one of my friend's bikes or something like that. Just don't ride on my bike. Why? They're duh. There you go. You know what? My kids need to come first. And one of us needs to be around in case somebody falls off. Just saying. So we got to think about that. We got to think about stuff like that. Yahweh gives you the foresight to think about stuff like that, and you do that. When you're selfish and full of yourself and your own egos, you hop on the motorcycle, you think you're evil Knievel, and boom, boom, and off you go. I've never laid down a bike ever. In 22 years of riding a motorcycle, I have never laid down a bike. So I must be doing something right. So I got to tell you guys, this UCC thing is all about planning. It's all about doing. So in the second day, after UCC is done and we've created the contracts and the liens and there are no trespasses and all that stuff is out of the way, rights are out of the way. The second day, we talk about the trust. Because here's what those guys don't tell you. The trust has to hold all your property. That's a legal entity that holds your property. And then, now that you've created the pipeline, now you discharge that care because the trust is paying all the bills because of something that I'll tell you in the class that I'm not telling you now because I'm not teaching you my whole class. Okay. You got to hold something back. Jeez. Anyway, so I'm trying to give you everything. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper, but basically we create a relationship between the trust and the straw person. So every single month you get to open your wallet, you empty it into the trust. Your beneficiaries get to benefit from it. Now, doesn't that already happen? I'll show you what's in my wallet. There's no money in my wallet. They took it all already. All the payoff money is gone. I got change. That's it. That's it. You can't buy anything with change anymore. Except maybe a place to park. And I'm just saying, that's how things are run for most of us dads. So why not commercialize and monetize this entire process and everything that you're doing for the benefit of your beneficiaries? Why not look at both sides of the financial contracts that you're entering, like your automotive contracts, your rental contracts, your court contracts? And let me show you how to maximize the back end. We won't just be talking about those court bonds out there. We'll actually talk to you about what to do with them. I got some, and these are here, right? I got a stack of them right here. This is Houston County, Texas. By the nuts. Look, the whole thing, all of them, all the characters on all my videos, they're right here. TikTok, Houston County, in case you're watching. And I'll pull that trigger when I'm ready to pull the trigger. They know. So if you guys want to learn how to use these things, besides just talk and bitch about them, because that's not what we do, we use them. And we use them for the benefit of the trust. Now, how does that make you a bad guy? It doesn't. It makes you a storekeeper. It makes you somebody that's keeping track of the expenses, watching what's going on, and maintaining it without being an enemy of the court. No. We haven't got there yet, Sean. Hold on, man. We're still in the thing. That's class number 4. But you're almost there, bud. God, this guy's good. I love it. All right. So, oh no. No lives tonight. Already had enough live. And you know what? Those of you guys that want to do a live with me on any Monday night call, if you want to come on as a guest, come on, man. We'll have an interview beforehand and we'll do that. We don't do this stuff on the fly. I don't like this stuff on the fly. Although I can wing it pretty good, but still, I don't like to do it if I don't have to. So anyway, let's get back to Sean's deal here. All right. So what have we done? We've commercialized everything that you're already doing for your family. And it takes you out of it. I talked to a guy today that's going through a divorce. You know, he's starting to go through, well, he's not a divorce, but it's a child custody thing. He can't keep his zipper up apparently. So, anyway, so he has a little problem there he needs to take care of for the next 18 to 21 years. Gotcha. Anyway, that should teach people. It really should, but I don't know. These talk shows are starting to make me believe it's not teaching anybody anything. But anyway, I stopped watching talk shows. But anyway, so when you have your children in a trust, when you go into a court situation and your wife wants to leave you, guess what? In the trust. Child custody, it's in the trust. Court doesn't have jurisdiction to separate those children from their home if the home is conveyed to the trust and they are beneficiaries of the trust. Do you see why we need to have this stuff in place? See, by not having these things in place, when somebody wants to come by and take your beer can out of the water, they will, man, and they'll shake it up and they'll spray it all over the place and they don't care because they're monetizing all of your arguments that you had with your ex-wife. They're monetizing every piece of pain that you guys are willing to pay for and put up on that altar in that temple, which is a courthouse. And these demons are feasting and roasting on your pain, your misery, your children. You know why? Because they're evil people. It's historically proven. Anybody with a black robe is a bloodsucker. Anybody. Dracula, the judges, Dracula, and the judges. I'm just gonna leave it. And the Munster people too. Yeah, I remember them. You remember that guy? He was a bloodsucker too. And they all wear black robes. Okay. And the truth of the matter is they all worship Saturn. Okay. And those courthouses that you're walking into, they're banks. BANKS. And they have a CRIS system, not a court registry system, you big foo-foo. Whoever said that out there. Court registry system. It's a CRIS system, which it kind of, you could put a C on there if you want to, but it has a K. Get an education, Kenny. And that's what they use to control and monetize all of your pain and misery. So if you want to put your business in there, you can. But here's how you stay out of there. You settle everything by common law. You and your wife, you sit down and you determine what's best for your children. And you make a deal. Whatever you do on the side is second. And you make that deal. And you make your children the best they can absolutely be. How many people sit down with their kids, sit down as parents, and make that plan? I didn't. But I can tell you in hindsight 2020, knowing what I know now, learning this trust, learning how powerful this trust is. So there's only 3 reasons you can go to court. Well, really 2, where a court has jurisdiction, okay? If there's a contract that's broken, or if there's harm or property damage, or if there's an agreement in place. Those are the 3 reasons you can go to court. If there's an agreement in place, they're going to go on that agreement. Example, let's talk about foreclosures. Anybody in here have any experience fighting foreclosures? I do. And here's what I'm going to tell you about it. They don't give a crap about the law, especially here in Texas. They don't care. You can show it right to their face. They don't care. Do you know why? They're following the contract. See, they're really not supposed to play both sides of the fence. So at some point, they're going to follow that contract. So what does that tell you? If you're engaged in a foreclosure, you better get rid of that contract. You better find something faulty with that contract. You should take my debt class. You can send them an FDCPA letter. And then under public law, that contract is caca in 30 days if you give the right notice. And that's pretty darn enforceable. But hold on a second. I'm going to use my firm mailing book. When? When you going to use your firm mailing book? Your firm mailing book. My other one's in the car. But this is my other one that's used up. Okay? Your firm mailing book better look like this if you threaten anybody to use your firm mailing book. Take one of these into court. You will run attorneys out of that courtroom. As soon as they see this book, they know they're done. Why? Because in common law, this is where we have court. This is in equity. This is where we do our agreements. What is this? Brian's looking at me crazy. What the heck is that? I know. He's like, what is it? He's like, you won't tell me. I'm going to. No, I'm not. You have to come take my class. But anyway, once you use that book, I'm just kidding. It's an accountable mail book. PS form 3788. Somebody's gonna type it in there if I don't. Hold on. It's 3877. PS form 3877. You can write that down, Brian. That's where we hold court. Why? Because we got witnesses, baby. And if you got witnesses, guess what you got? Equity. What does it take you to go to jail? What does it take? Sean? No, not your wife. No, what does it take to go to jail? An affidavit. So the cop, that's why, listen, if you ever get pulled over and you thinking everything's cool, and then the second cop pulls up, your ASS is going to jail. And here's why. The other cop is going to witness it, and he's a notary. And they have to do it right then and there. That's equity. You got to have a witness. It's real, man. It's very real. And guess what? When you understand how all that stuff works, then you can untie the rest of their shoes and yank down their pants on a pool day and everybody can see everything. It's funny. It's fun. And that's winning. That's understanding this game. That's taking care of your straw person. Those of you guys that are, big tough guys and you want to fight for your family. You want to fight for your family? Don't talk shit. Excuse my language. Don't do that. Do this. And you know what? You say books like this around, and they know. They know. I got like $8,000 worth of postage in that book. Really. Court cases just destroyed. Oh, but I have had them all come after me. But I do it because I understand equity. So yes, at face value, you're going to learn everything I'm telling you about. You're going to learn UCC and trust. You're going to learn debt and foreclosure. You're going to learn travel and driving, and the last class, tax equity and discharge. Oh, yes, all of you guys chasing that pot of gold. Yeah, that's your class right there. But it's also kind of the eye opener, too, because what you realize is that all those people that were talking about it are completely stupid and they know nothing of what was going on. This is a great question. Thanks for asking this again, by the way. Which of the documents do we use the embosser on and which do we not? So the embosser that he's talking about is an embosser that we use, that I talk about during the trust class. And it's one of these. And basically the straw man, this is the straw man signature. Anytime you're signing for the trust, this is the trust. This is the straw man. He's been reduced to a stamp. No arms, no legs. He can't do anything. You even have to squish it for him. Yeah, that's how powerless that punk is now. And that shows you what a fraud he is. And that's why Satan created him. He created him so he could stumble you guys up, get you all tripled up with all this court drama and all this demonic activity just for the purpose of harvesting your pain and, more importantly, your money and your labor. These are slave camps. And they've moved into our communities. And they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. But there's only one way you're going to beat these guys. And that's through absolute truth. absolute equity. If you have equity, you have truth, you have Yahweh standing with you. And if he's standing with you, nobody can prevail. Nobody. And I'm living, breathing proof that that's absolutely true. I would say that the question Sean was asking, he says, would you go as far as say that the straw man is the mark of the beast? Maybe. It might be the greatest deception ever because people really think that all of that is who and what they are. Dude, I lost like all my stuff one time. My ex-wife stole everything I had. She did. She took everything, like everything. Um, I mean, I just didn't want to go there. It's so much. I lost everything. And what I learned was Yahweh could give it all back to me tomorrow. None of it mattered. And I learned that it didn't make me as a person. As a matter of fact, with all of that stuff out of my life and looking at myself, how pathetic I was looking at the time, I saw that this guy needed a lot of work. And all those Rolexes and nice watches and all that stuff was just covering up all the garbage that I was really living in myself personally. So, people of this world really think silly stuff. They think like if you get the right car, you're gonna get the right girl, and then you're gonna get the right, and she's gonna be like a perfect 10, and everything's gonna be good as long as you get that car. And that is the biggest lie ever. We all know that's not true, but people act like it is, and people are really deceived. I am so sorry, you guys out there in TikTok land. Join us on Uber Conference. uberconference.com/freedom school. Jump on that, man. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that my phone service is so bad. I do apologize. We'll be working on that at some point. So, and the embosser is usually used at the point of signature. So usually if you'll see, like, for example, let's see. So here's a ticket I did a while back. It was for my wife. But you'll see right here, my embosser is actually right here. You can feel it, but you can't see it. But it's right here. And so it's right here next to the signature Durat. So anywhere you have a signature Durat and your name is in all caps and then you're signing below it, like this one says buy, and then I'm signing it. I always put notice that the trust is here. Why do we do that? It sets the jurisdiction. Equity is so scary, attorneys don't want to even talk about it. Really. I have a friend that's going through a divorce right now. His house was conveyed to his trust, and the attorneys are completely ignoring that the house has been conveyed to a trust, and they're trying to tell him he needs to sell his house and this and that. We just fired his lawyer last weekend, and we got together and we drafted the proper motion so that we could shut all that down because the trust there's no subject matter jurisdiction. The court cannot trespass. They can't order it. It's already in a trust. And worst of all, she agreed to it. And of course, she was like, "Well, I never signed the trust." You didn't have to. You were married to him back in 2018 and it all cured. And you said it was okay. And she did. And she left the property too. So, oh well. Anyway, any other questions, comments about the UCC class? Sean, did I cover them all? Pretty good reason to have a trust. Here's another reason to have a trust. Your stuff will never go to probate if you die. Yeah. Well, when you die. So what happens is the day you die, your successor trustees step in and start running the ship. So if you've got retirement coming in, if you got things like that coming in, as long as it's payable to a trust, life insurance policies, all that stuff, it all remains tax free and everybody gets paid out of the trust according to the rules of the will. And the government is completely out of your business. That's as private as you get. No, you do not put your trust in a foreign jurisdiction. And here's why. This jurisdiction is just fine. And you're not living in another country. That's another faux pas that these teachers like to teach. You got to move it to a foreign jurisdiction. Why? I don't know. We just need to do it. Well, you want to be foreign. No, you don't want to be foreign. You're trying to control an American asset. Why would you try to remotely do it when you're not even there? Silly. Yes. Peter made a comment. He says about life insurance. He needs to update that. Absolutely. Update your insurance. Set up your beneficiaries. Set your beneficiaries up. Your first and second would be the trust. The second one usually is the wife. And you won't pay any kind of taxes on that either, which is nice. Everything's all quiet and private. And all you have to do is do a tax return for your trust. I'm sorry. Okay, guys. Those of you guys in TikTok land, if you go to Living Life Without Contracts on YouTube, you can see all of our previous calls, and I'll be uploading this one up there tonight as well. So I do apologize. This is freezing like this. I'm sorry. What they do. It's all spiritual. Right. Any other questions, comments? A lot going on. Come on, Sean. That's it. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, Tim.
Go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you
You're welcome.
for everything that you put out there and for the things that you've been through, dude. You and I have talked before. This is Pat from Facebook, by the way.
Oh, hey, man.
Yeah, and I haven't made the call yet, but we will be setting up an interview soon so I can take your classes.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to
So,
have you in
and
there.
then
That's exciting.
I can't
Thank you.
I can't wait either, man. I'm like a horse chomping at the bit, but yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. That's all.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. That's what we
man.
want to do. So we don't want to be gatekeepers. Okay. But just understand that this information really does. I mean, just in this little bit of time, I went into all the trust. Those of you guys that don't know anything about trust, anything about UCC, you've probably already flipped me and gone to the next station by now. And I would totally understand. This is not for everybody. Not everybody's in a place in their life where they're ready to listen to this stuff. Okay. I had stuff on my desk for like 2 years, literally. And it took me just that long just to learn it, just to even just wrap my mind around it. And I had to pray for it just so I could understand it, man, because I'm not a smart dude. I don't have a bunch of degrees and things like that. I don't have a ton of education like you guys do. Dude, I was a musician and a landscaping contractor when I did this. Now, granted, I've owned mechanic shops, I've owned restaurants, I've owned lots of other things in my lifetime. And I did kind of take a lazy way out when I to be a landscaping contractor, but I made really good money doing it and I enjoyed playing with my band at the time. So I felt like that was a good career for me to do for myself. And so, and Yahweh changed everything about me. I never thought I'd be doing any of this ever. Never. But here we are. Oh. So Sean says talk more like the non-UCC filings. You were talking like indemnity agreement and security and non-security agreement. Okay. Wow. That was a good one, man. That's good. I like that, Sean. All right. So the non-UCC we file on the land record, we do that for the purpose of indemnifying the straw person. And basically what that means is that he can't come into court. And if he does, y'all have to pay a bunch. So I'll give you an example of how that works. So let's just say that you took your car to a mechanic shop. And I'm telling you this because I used to own a mechanic shop and I used to manage some too. So you take your car to a mechanic shop, they do $10,000 worth of work on it, and you don't pay for it. What happens? Well, the owner of the shop is the first in line to get paid, period. Why? Because his labor is in that car. And anybody that has physical labor or a physical investment in any kind of property, that perfects any kind of security interest right off the bat. So when we do our commercial security agreement, we are giving notice of that. and we're perfecting that part of it. So your non-UCC is filed in repetition to the UCC. There's some changes, just slight things that are different, but not much. But basically, the purpose of doing that is to give public notice on the land record. So if anybody tries to sue you, they're going to come to your county and they're going to sue you in your county. They're not going to come sue you in North Carolina where their main office is. They're going to come all the way down because that's the rules. So if you've already got that door closed, then guess what's going to happen? Nothing. So, and this keeps your straw man out of court. Okay. Here's an example of people that do this sorts of thing all the time. Hollywood stars do this all the time. They put kind of these kinds of things out there to keep them from going to jail. This is why they don't ever get in trouble for doing stupid stuff, because they've got fee schedules and all kinds of stuff out there that protects it protects them, really insulates them with a lot of protection in case the officers make any kind of mistake. And believe me, they have somebody there that will invent a mistake if they can't find one. So, and that's what they do. It's literally what this whole witchcraft game is all about. So, the UCC is what breaks the arms and the legs off the straw man to keep you out of there. This is why you never see special needs people getting called for jury duty. You ever notice that? Like, you don't even see handicapped people show up for jury duty. That's just rare. That only happens on TV. I'm going to tell you, here in Texas, I've never even seen anybody with a wheelchair get called for jury duty, because there's a visual they're trying to maintain, and they don't want somebody to, it's a handicap. It's a prejudicial handicap thing, and they just don't want to see it. So once we do this to the straw person, it takes them off the books. The non-UCC is done for civil purposes to keep you from getting sued. And I will tell you, true story. New Mexico did put a lien on me, a tax lien on me, and those are pretty hard to get off, But they put a tax lien on me because they said I had not paid some sales tax after my shop had already been closed. And I wrote them letters and said, "No, you're stupid," and da 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 da. Back when I was first waking up, I didn't know. Anyway, but what I did do right was having that non-UCC file, because it lasted on my credit for like 2 weeks, and then it went off the credit because they got a bill in the mail. And it works. I have a case right now in Colorado where I work for a trust, and I'm the guy that writes the bad letters when people don't behave. That's my job. But amongst some other things that I do, but that's what I do for this trust. And I guess these people didn't particularly like my letter very much, so they decided to sue the trust and me too. You can't do that. And I just filed all kinds of claims and sanctions and everything else against this attorney. I'm going to ruin her career over this. She made a big mistake. This is why we file these non-UCCs, so that you are not victimized by anybody. And literally, I have it from the stupid lawyer we hired, because we have a trust, and the lawyers have to represent the trust. So I figured, okay, well, you can just represent everybody then. No, he was an idiot. I fired him last week because he's a moron, and he was. So this goes to show you that, and I mean, there was illegal stuff going on, and this dude knew it, and so did the other lawyer. And still, and then they're using my name too. So guess what? Everybody's getting billed. Everybody. I didn't know today was MLK Day, so otherwise they would have got billed today. But nobody got any mail today, including myself. So tomorrow they will get it. And this is why we file the UCC, is to protect yourself, so that when you do stuff in business, some entity, some stupid woman couple that used to work at the Pentagon that thinks they're hot SHIT, it keeps them from thinking they can come after you, because now they're not so hot SHIT right now. They might be going to jail. So, and these things happen. But we have to be on the right side of equity to do that. And what's hardest of all is when your whole life is completely commingled and you don't know how to function at one time because you get overwhelmed. You ever see that with people? They go through a divorce and their whole life falls apart. They can't even clean their toilet anymore. You're like, dude, clean your toilet. Come on, man. Really? Yeah. It's because they've commingled everything in their lives. And so now, since that one part of their life is out of balance, their whole life is out of balance. This is why we file the UCC. It gives you a buffer. It gives your family a buffer, and you personally are no longer liable for the things of the trust, of the legal fiction, because it's registered, it's done, it's working. I show you how to open your bank accounts, everything. So the question over here on TikTok is they're asking us, how do we go back to common law? We go back to common law by understanding what common law is and understanding that common law is run by equity. That's what they didn't tell you about common law. That's what all these cuckoo birds out there in, YouTube land will not teach you about this, because they don't know and because they just don't get it. And some of you guys that are listening to me are probably scratching your head now and still not getting it. But you know what? You will. Someday you will. You stay on this path and get it. One is equity. No, 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 no. That's equity. Everybody received all this. That's called performance and equity. And then you have a judgment and you're done. Witnesses. Got to have it. If you have enough witnesses, you can remove a public official right out of office. You can recall him tomorrow. You see how powerful this equity stuff is? Yeah. You don't like who's in office? Get some signatures together. Get a bulletproof vest. Maybe a couple. That's going to get it done. But this other stuff we're doing right now, it ain't going to get it done. This David Strait stuff, not going to get it done. These guys are losing across the board, man. They're sinking like ships, man. Their families are being destroyed. Their property is being dispersed amongst these townships and people. And they're just being utterly humiliated, victimized. Kayla and Colby Fitz sat in jail for over 6 months without a bond on a Class C misdemeanor. Class C misdemeanor. That's like shoplifting. And we sent somebody down there to bond them out with a $250,000 bond once they did it. And you know what they did? They raised it to a cash bond as soon as we showed up with the bondsman. Like, so you want to push these guys? Go ahead and push them. That'll get it done. And that's how it gets done. So I got to tell you guys. Hold on a second. I'm looking at this. Oh, Sean, you're going to have trouble with anybody. Anytime these people want people to act and assimilate a certain way so they can maintain a status quo. You know why? Because they're moving in equity. Because if they can get everybody else to do it and it's equitable, and guess what? Tim Dameron's got to wear a mask too. So does Sean. So does James. It just got here late. You're supposed to be here at 6. But anyway, that's how the cookie crumbles. So next week, James, let's try this at 6 p.m. instead of 7. And we're going to go back over this. We're going to do this again next week. We're going to, like I said, James, he has some really great stuff to share. And we just don't have time. We're actually out of time now. My timer's about to shut down for the night. So I want to thank everybody that's joined us tonight. If you guys have any questions about what we teach, what we do, schedule an appointment. Us is as a hairnet. Yeah, okay. Oh, what is TikTok? Oh goodness. Just Google it, my friend. TikTok. Just like that, but it's one word. Anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for being on the call tonight. I want to thank James for being here as well. Sean, thank you for all your input. Tony, so glad you guys are here. Brian, had fun picking on you tonight. Little John, we're going to see you guys next time. And you know what? Stay focused. And everything that you've heard tonight, look it up. Research it. Don't take my word for it. Please don't. Go research it. See what this stuff means, okay? Learn it for yourself. Get a handle around it. That way, when somebody like me hands you the baton, you can run. Not just sit there and look at it and go, ooh, look, there's a hole in it. No, we don't want to do that. We want to hand you the baton. We want you to run. We want you to win. That's the point of all this. You want to change government? We got to change. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening. May Yahweh bless all of you guys. We'll see you guys next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. That's right, Central Time, Texas Time. We'll see you guys then. May Yahweh bless your days, bless your families, and be well, everyone. Good night.